What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna break down some speed art of this Morbius recruiting graphic that I made. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I started off by getting the Morbius poster and basically just tweaking the coloring, and I tried a few different techniques to do that, and I actually ended up using a lot of different techniques to do it, but you'll see as I get deeper into it kind of what I stuck with. But the plan here was to basically like leave the right side and then just put an app state helmet slash like face mask on the left side. So basically I just needed to color the right side mostly yellow and then get the eye like really yellow, and then right here is where I'm cutting out the left side with a soft brush and kind of fading it into the Morbius poster. I actually left the face on the left side and then just put an overlay with like a few different like blending modes, and like obviously I had to mess around a lot with it, and then like I think I ended up painting some away later, but it was a lot of coloring, blending modes, and just kind of brushing away the background to basically make that guy in the background look fairly neutral as far as like skin tones and that sort of thing, and then give him the yellow eye to match the right side, of course. So right here I'm just shading in the top left and then trying to remove some of the layer that's kind of looking like the face mask is like an overlay, because, or the face guard anyway, because the face guard is obviously not like, you know, part of his face. It's supposed to be like up in front of his face. So I had to remove some of his like skin texture to show that, and then there I just used a yellow brush and painted on top of the eye, turn it to vivid light, and obviously you basically just go through a bunch of blending modes, see which one looks the best, maybe remove some of the blacks or some of the highlights depending on what looks good. And then yeah, here I go shading in kind of that top left side, because all that's just kind of not necessary to have. Like you have the lettering up there, and then you have the skin color like showing through, which is not necessary anyway. So here I'm giving it a more defined edge under the helmet to make it look more clean, and then using content aware fill to remove some of the wording, and the patch tool I think is what it's called. So I use that quite a bit and just do exactly what I'm doing. Just click it or circle it, drag it, and replace it. And so there all of the extra little tidbits are removed, and so I'm going back to coloring here. I really like to use selective color to tweak the colors to look natural. Obviously like this is not natural, but like selective colors do the most natural like gradient, I guess, from one color to another. So it was kind of hard to make this one look, you know, the yellow that I wanted it. It was kind of like a mixture of like yellow, orange, and red, but I think in the end I kind of got it where I wanted it. So I had to use a lot of hue saturations and selective colors and color fills and all that sort of stuff. And then here I take the poster and put it on top of what we already have, just to put some of those like, you know, smoke flame looking whatever things that is on top of it, and then basically just kind of blend that into the left side so the helmet is not so like, you know, sticking out like crisply, like it's kind of more faded in now. And then I go in and use another selective color to adjust the overall look, and I went back and tweaked, you know, the different colors, different things a few different times, just because it wasn't really like working how I wanted it. It was a little more difficult than I thought to like get the color to where I wanted it. But anyway, here I'm like changing the text, and the idea was basically like keep it fairly close to Morbius, and the first thing that came to mind is more rings or Mo rings. I tried to make that, I tried to emphasize that by capitalizing the M and the R, so it kind of reads Mo rings, and then my other idea was to put then any other Sunbelt team below it, but we ended up changing that too, I think. So once I had the text on there kind of the way I wanted it, I went into Adobe Dimension and made the 3D text and tried to get the lighting as close to what was on the poster as possible, which I knew was not going to be exactly right, because the lighting on their poster text is pretty unique, and I'm not sure how they achieved it, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it, especially like in a timely manner. And I could worry about the details, but this sort of thing is just like not. With this sort of thing, I just don't spend too much time on the details. Like if I know I can do it quickly, I'll do it, and if I know it's going to take me like way too long for a little detail like that, it's just not worth the time for me. So I basically separated the M, the O, the R, and the ings, and then squished it together to make the M and the R look capitalized. And then I just tried to tweak the color as much as I could to kind of match the poster look, but obviously with the yellow instead of the like green and blue and whatnot that's on theirs. And so I used these little dots to almost look like, I wanted it to look like rounded off at the bottom, because that's how theirs kind of looks. I mean, obviously this is the bad and fast way to do it. And yeah, obviously it didn't work, so I kind of went with a more generic look, but I think in the end I got it to where I wanted it to be. And I made a few tweaks after I stopped the recording, but this is what I came up with after doing some final coloring. So thanks for watching, and check out these other videos if you like this tutorial.